we'll move on then to a story that broke. Not so much ins and outs related, but it is transfer related. It's this whole footy leak story that's been going on where players' private contracts are getting leaked, which, you know, discuss that between yourself, the morals of it, and whether people should be talking about it. But we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So
it's immoral.
so if you're against that kind of thing, soz, but we're doing it. It's been reported, and I'll say reported, is that when Liverpool signed Roberto Firmino, they put a £82.6 million is a release clause is in his contract, except for Arsenal. Arsenal can't have him. So anyone in the world who pays £82.6 million can have him, except Arsenal. First question then. I think when you sign players now from wherever, most will try and get a release clause in. And Liverpool put a very, very high. Well, you know, it's 3 times almost what we pay for him. No,
so we
paid 28.
I think it's weird when you sat because we bought him for like, was it 34 million or something?
It was like 30.
It was in the 20s.
Yeah.
So, but then when we put that release clause on, it's like we're telling the club we actually think he's worth 80, but we're only going to give you about 25.
I think it's more a case of someone said that we want a release clause and Liverpool going to sound 80, 90, I think it was 85, 86 million euros.
Used to do it on Footy Manager, you put it up to like 100 million so no one could ever come in for your good
It's
players.
very, very similar, but we lost Luis Suarez kind of almost to a release clause, although in the end...
Was it even true though?
Who knows?
40 million and one pack. That, you know what? It isn't funny to see the club being so spiteful.
That's what I was going to come to that in a bit. We'll come to the Arsenal thing in a bit. Do you think? In fact, let's do it now. Do you think it is just? Do you think it is? Do you think it's just pure spite of Arsenal trying to screw us over with Suarez? He can, if you know what, United, Chelsea, City, whoever wants him, if he's that good, you can pay £82 million. You can have him. But Arsenal, you can get to.
They are the team who were meant to have class and like, well, we don't talk about players and things like that. And then they get wind of this fucking false story that if it's anything above 40 million, they didn't even come in with 50. Like a normal, 40 million and a pound, absolute cheapskates. So, I don't know, you'd like to think that we'd have a good relationship with Arsenal, but we're never going to sign any of their players and we don't want to be giving our players to the competition. So, I never really like Liverpool selling players within the league. I'd like to get them out the league or like into a lower division, like personally. So,
do you think it's just pure spite?
Yeah.
Because if it was, I was going to say, I'll come to you then.
Yes,
because if it wasn't, it would say you can go anywhere you want except United and Chelsea and City and Arsenal. But Liverpool have just gone, you know what, if you're that good, United, I'm going to pay for you, then we'll kind of begrudgingly accept it. The only other thing I can think of is that Liverpool maybe tried to do it, and the agents and stuff have said no, and Liverpool put their foot down and said, you are not going to Arsenal. They tried to screw us over. John Henry done his, what are they smoking in the Emirates tweet. Yeah. We ate them. You're not going there no matter what. And if it is, that's quite funny.
I honestly think, if you look at, if there's any photos of this contract anywhere, I think there's a photo of John Henry on the contract smoking a big cigar, flip, and it says fuck off Emirates on it. But it's PR, and you know, if they went to Arsenal, then it's that gets dragged up again, that story in the press, and that's bad PR for FSG, and maybe it's a bit harsh, but at the end of the day, like, you know, the first thing Arsenal fans will say is they don't spend money. They wouldn't spend 82 million anyway, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah. And if he is
release clause, so it could be 40 and we could accept. Like, but he's not going anywhere. If he's gonna go anywhere, it would be to like a Barca Real kind of thing. So
probably to Spain or something.
Yeah.
Are you worried that if he's that good, someone can just now that this is out in the open? Listen, I'll be honest. Agents talk to clubs anyway, so. If there was talk that Barcelona wanted him, or for example, they don't know right now, but in a couple of years' time, you know, he's cracked into the Brazil squad, he's scoring goals in the Premier League for fun, and there's talk. His agent could just get on the blower to, you know, Barca and say, by the way, there's an £82 million release clause. The fact that this is out in the open, and obviously Liverpool officially have refused to comment. They've said basically we're not confirming or denying, we don't discuss contracts in public. Which makes me think, yeah, it's therefore in there because they just said nah. But it is a thing now that again and although it'd be a lot of money, we got a lot of money for Luis Suarez, and I still think we got ripped off. We didn't get near enough because he's better than Paul Pogba, he's better than Gareth Bale, for example, and they went for similar, obviously different times, but around that money. Suarez should have been the most expensive player ever. Yeah, because the way that after it worked, but again there was clauses and stuff. If Firmino could end up being Suarez good, he probably won't because that's a high bar, but he could be very, very good. And again, it's just another case of Liverpool might lose another player to another. Although you get 80 odd million quid, there's still a kick in the balls. For me, you'd always think that these players have got clauses. but it's kind of like, you know, knowing that he's got it, it kind of makes me feel a bit crap.
Purely because I think it's obviously a kick in the teeth for Arsenal, but the reason why it's so high as well is because they're using the experience of what's happened with Luis Suarez in the past as well. Because when Suarez first signed, or when he's extended his contract,
It was 40.
before, it was that 40 million thing, and then he extended that contract for that year. Then he had that season with us, and it was what, 75 million or something like that. That's purely just in case if Firmino turns into another Luis Suarez. That's definitely what it is. But no one's going to fork out 82 million. Not at this point anyway for Firmino. It's at this point anyway. But it is the inflation of the transfer market though, because when we signed Suarez in 2011, 40 million at that time might have been a good price for Suarez. But since the years have went on and now he's developed as a player and now the inflation of the transfer market, this is the result of Firmino's contract.
I think it's good, to be honest, because it's just protecting the club's value. Like, I mean, people complain and go, oh, you know, it's wrong that we're selling our best players, we shouldn't be a selling club. Well, that protects his value in any sense, because if he ever ends up being that good that he's worth 82 million, he's 82 million, and that's the release clause, and, you know, they've got to negotiate stuff. And even if he doesn't, you know, say he starts bagging 20 goals a season, well, a team can't come in and go, we'll give you 70 million for him. You know what I mean? Suarez was 75, well, actually now the release clause is 82. It's keeping him safe in our squad and stopping. Klopp knows now he can build around him. He's a good player.
Yeah,
going
definitely.
That thing is like, oh, we're not a selling club or something. I honestly haven't got a problem with foreign players wanting to sign for Barca or Real Madrid. There's two clubs in the world that they will just, I don't know, gazump any other club, and it's Barca and Real. And sometimes we might not, we just haven't got that allure that they have. They've got this Galactico thing and all them Champions League.
Especially for players in Brazil and South America. My point of view is then, I suppose, in a good way, is that, I mean, Firmino doesn't look like this type of character, but who knows? Suarez done it. He basically pushed for a move the first time, and then we said no.
Yeah,
I suppose now what this could do is, if he decides, you know what, I don't want to play for Liverpool anymore, it's a case of Liverpool going sound. You can go, find someone who'll pay £2 million for you. Yeah. And again, like what it does, it'll stop any of the you know, the Suarez, you know, he was pissed off. He was in the Telegraph saying Liverpool won't let me leave, I want to leave. I suppose if obviously hopefully things don't sour and you don't want to look at it that way, but if you know you go yeah, gonna fancy a move, yeah, you should go. You got a release clause, go and find someone who'll pay it. It just cuts out them weeks and weeks of like bullshit on the back of every paper saying Firmino speculation. He's not like a young lad come through the youth system. There's no real loyalty there. Obviously we've given him his chance and he's done really well with his chance. But yeah, it cuts out that bullshit. If you want to go, there's the price. There's no other bullshit around it. And it was the same with Sterling. It was the same with Suarez. The same with Torres. That constant speculation. It's no good for the club, it's no good for the players, it unsettles them. And you can see it on the pitch that the player themselves never quite play to the standard that they were before the speculation comes out. So yeah, just cuts all that out, and I'm happy to see that.
It just makes me think though, it's what other players going to have some mad clause? What Coutinho or Mane when he signs over the summer? He won't be the only one with a mad release clause in his contract.
Is it even true?
I mean, we don't, again, Liverpool have refused to comment.
It's from allegedly bloody world, isn't it?
It's from Belgium, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's from Belgian paper, and it's the same with all these reports.
I've seen a
allegedly
picture
this, allegedly that.
I've seen a picture of the Alderweireld, an actual picture of the contract, and that's his release clause is like 25 million quid or something ridiculously low, and there's photographic evidence of his contract. I mean, it has like national insurance number on stuff, which is a bit dodgy.
Who's the little fucking
snide?
Like, right, just sign here, and I go, oh, I can't wait to release this. Fucking get a life.
The Belgians are hot on their journalism over in Belgium, in Brussels. But I agree with Jamie. There could be. That's the worry, is that, I mean, Origi's contract was leaked, so it's talking about wages and bonuses, etc., and that kind of thing, which all makes sense. But you are right in that we don't know what's going to be at. So if someone wants to leave, there could be mad clauses like, you know, Adam Lallana has got a clause saying, if PSG want me, I can go for 30. You don't know what's in these contracts. And sometimes in order to get the player, you have to make some concessions and give them these type of things. And I suppose, I'll come to you then, Jamie, dead quick on it, is that if someone bid £82 million tomorrow, we couldn't stop them from taking our player. I've got more faith in this regime than what happened with Suarez when we signed, you know, Balotelli and Lambert and stuff. one crumb of comfort is that I trust Klopp and his team to spend that money a little bit better than we did. Well, it couldn't be much worse after. Would you agree?
Yeah, so if Klopp had that 82
and you
million
trust them
quid,
more. I mean, it's not going to. Hopefully, it wouldn't lead to. We lost Suarez, and we just went to be tanked.
If Klopp had that 82 million pound, it's the thing is though with us, it's not like money's an issue. It's not like Klopp's not going to go out there and spend 50 million on a Lewandowski or someone like that. We don't need the money. That's probably why they slapped that big release clause on it, because I'm not saying we're going to go out and buy all this and that, but we haven't really struggled to buy a player, so fuck the 82 million, we don't need it.
We didn't spend much though, like on net spend.
We made a profit.
So maybe all these fucking release clauses are just FSG's way of fucking paying that main standoff, isn't it?
Maybe.
We wouldn't fucking mind a bit of money coming in. So
hopefully not. I'd rather hope they're not. I suppose that the thing we should mention is Tottenham are now actively trying to get Toby Alderweireld to sign a new contract. They've refused to confirm or deny that the bid was, but now they are desperately trying to get him a new contract. Now that this is out in the open, can you see any situation where Liverpool try and offer him, and it comes out, Liverpool have offered Firmino a new contract, not just because we're scared, but just because to create more mystery around it, because you don't want everyone knowing his contract details.
When your cards are on the table, because there's no negotiating leeway. If people know the price,
I was going to say, someone could think he's worth 100 million and come in with 100 million, and now they're not because they know he can get him for 86.
That's like the Arsenal one.
Exactly, Arsenal 400 and was it 40 million quid, so someone could come in with.
But we know they're the only team that do that, and he can't.
And he can't go to Arsenal.
It all makes sense. Whoever's doing it, Ian Ayres fucking is riding off into the sunset, going, "Oh, I'm doing good with my clauses."
So in January we're expecting.
And it's Christmas.
We're clauses.
Yeah.
On that segue, we'll move on from clauses. Right, guys, thanks for tuning in. That was our discussion on Roberto Firmino, his apparent leaked release clause, and the fact that Liverpool apparently really hate Arsenal and wanted to stick it to them for the whole Suarez 40 million and a quid thing. That was part of our Reds Transfer Roundup show. It's available to all Redmen TV subscribers. If you click this stuff here, you'll get to go to the website. Like I say, it's £2 a month to sign up, and you'll get your first month free. Just in-depth shows at the weekend briefing, final word shows, this show. Very much value for money, and for £2, I think it's definitely worth checking out. And I say the first month's free anyway, so go over there, check it out. If you like it, you can sign up for more. And that's it for me, and I'll see you next week. Ta-ra.